you boil it down to absolute basics, cycling is all about pedalling. If you aren't pedalling, you're just, well, scooting or rolling, I suppose. Just about anyone can get on a bike, turn the pedals round and make it move. But with a bit of thought and practice, you can improve efficiency and save energy along the way. And ultimately this will translate in being able to ride further and faster. The first place to start when thinking about pedalling efficiency is saddle height. If it's either too high or too low, your legs will not be able to exert the correct force at the appropriate time and could even result in a strain or injury. I'll cover this in more detail in another film, but as a very quick rule of thumb, if your saddle is too high, your hips will rock from side to side, and if it's too low, you will not be able to use your leg muscles fully. When the saddle is at the correct height though, your knee should have a slight bend when the pedals are at the 6 o'clock position. The perfect single pedal stroke can be broken down into two halves, the pushing down phase and the pulling up phase. When you push down on the pedal, you're using your thigh muscles, and when you pull up, you engage the muscles in your calves and buttocks. Now obviously spreading the load over different muscle groups means that you won't fatigue a single group quite so quickly. This essentially is the thinking behind cycling shoes and cleats. If your foot is physically attached to the pedal, it's much easier to pull up. It's even been claimed that pedalling like this can save you up to 30% of your energy. The correct pedalling technique is often described as pedalling in circles. It should feel natural on the way down and as if you're trying to scrape some mud off the bottom of your shoe on the way up. The whole thing should feel like a single, smooth and fluid movement. But what about Chris Froome and his oval chainring? Okay, yes, I know there is a so-called dead spot in the pedal stroke where no force either up or down is applied, and Froome's famous ring is just one way of overcoming this. But let's face it, he's a pro riding races where 1/10 of a second could mean the difference between winning or losing. For us normal people, will getting to the cafe stop 3 nanoseconds before everyone else on the weekend club run really make that much difference? Most of us are probably already using this push down, pull up pedalling technique, but there are a couple of exercises you can do to improve it further. The first is to ride up a climb and select a slightly higher gear than normal, but one that will allow you to pedal between 40 and 50 revs per minute. As you're riding up, make a conscious effort to think about each stroke, paying particular attention to smoothly pushing down and pulling up, making extra effort to ensure the transition between the two is as seamless as possible. It does take a little bit of thought as you will need to coordinate between each pedal, so as one leg is pushing down, the other one will be pulling up. The other exercise you can do is one-legged pedalling. Now you can do this out on the road, but it's much better on a turbo trainer or rollers. Simply take one foot off the pedal and let the remaining one do the work. This way it has to do all of the pulling up as well as the pushing down. Again, this is probably better at a slower speed, at least at first, while you consciously think about what your leg muscles are actually doing. After a while it will become second nature, and you can start to increase your cadence until you reach your normal pedalling speed. Efficient pedalling technique by itself might not necessarily win you any races, but it will certainly make you look smoother and a bit more pro on the bike, and hopefully save you a bit of energy along the way. Thanks for watching.